Okay, when it comes to politics, very few people say exactly what they think, and in some cases, politicians, shock horror, lie, as this iconic clip of Bill Clinton denying allegations of an affair shows us.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false, and I need to go back to work for the American people.
Okay, what does that mean? But is it possible to separate fact from fiction, no matter what we hear, what the person says, what are his thoughts, and what other leaders have to face up to in public? For his take, body language expert Allan Pease. Good morning, Allan.
Good morning, Kerri-Anne.
Look, we've seen that before. Your view again, and just particularly, what does that mean?
Well, that's what we call a baton signal. In effect, you like to get a stick and hit these journalists on the head for asking this question. So if somebody really bugs you and you'd like to hit them with a stick but you can't, you produce a finger stick and you start to talk like this. Unfortunately, what studies have shown with this finger pointing is that when people remember you later, they remember you in very nasty terms and they have the lowest retention of what you actually said. Whereas if you talk with your palms up, they have the highest retention of what you said and they remember you in more glowing terms.
Oh, so that's positive, that's negative.
That's the worst you can get. And the thing about that Bill Clinton clip is this means no. It's the first human gesture. When you put on the breast to drink, when you had enough, you make that movement. So that's our first learnt gesture. That's why all humans use it. Now, if you feel emotional or no, you shake your head. If you feel yes, you make your head go this way. And he said, I did not have sex with that woman. Now, I did not have sex with that woman looks like I didn't have sex, as opposed to I did not have sex with that woman. Wow. You idiot.
Do love that, though. Okay, his successor, George W. Bush. Now, there was a famous shoe-throwing incident. Now, tell me what you glean from his reaction on this one as we roll the vision, because it's that immediate reaction, isn't it, from people?
Yeah,
that you just can't cover that because it's normal. Now, what are we gleaning from this?
Well, it appears to be smiling and laughing. But in fact, what you're seeing is a basic chimpanzee gesture here. Monkeys and chimps have two basic smiles. One was where the corners of the mouth go up and they make a little sound like and humans, we do it too. It's called a play face. Shows that we're friendly, we're not aggressive. That's why when you meet people and they smile at you, you feel okay about them. The other version was where the corner of the lips go down, which is called a fear face. That's when you're showing you're scared. And he's in a situation where he could be shot, could be killed. So he's appearing to smile, but in fact, he's showing fear. And Lindy Chamberlain, if you remember, had the same gesture. She had that fear gesture, but it made her look as though she was laughing in the wrong circumstances.
Now, we've got some other stills here because he had a lot of expression at times, George Bush. So let's look at the first photograph. Now, what about that?
What's he thinking? Well, the answer in most of these things, the answer's nothing. Think of men that you know in your life who have these expressions. They sit there and you'll see George Bush sitting at a dinner with...
It's a bit Laurel and Hardy, really.
It is Laurel and Hardy, yes. And you think, what's the guy thinking? He's actually not thinking anything most of the time if he's not being interviewed. Now, men have a little room in the centre of the head that we call the nothing room. It's their favourite room. They love to go and sit there 4 or 5 times a day. Now, for women, this is an impossible concept. He actually is thinking nothing. There's nothing going on in his head. When George Bush is pulling these expressions, he's actually thinking nothing.
All of these?
Well, if he's on his own, as long as he's not being interviewed, he's not actually thinking anything.
Well, what if he's being interviewed and let's assume there's a backdrop? OK, that one. Let's go there.
Well, now that one is a double lip. See, he's turned his lips in and he's sucking his lips to stop himself from saying, drop dead or don't ask that stupid question again. So if you don't like what you hear, one of the things that men will do is that version, and women will do it with a tight lip. You're doing it now.
No, women will go, you what?
Well, yeah, that's my husband.
OK, so when you purse your lips in like that,
That's a withholding. You are withholding what you're thinking and feeling. Don't say it. Don't say it.
So you're holding yourself back.
I'm pulling myself back.
Now Barack Obama is quite regularly seen with his head in his hands. What do we glean from this?
Well, he's got a short attention span. Now, if somebody's interested in what you're saying, the hand will normally rest on the chin or the side of the face, but it just rests. When the head starts to be supported by the hand, then you're getting boredom setting in. So in this version now.
Here, that's boredom. Even I can pick that's boredom.
I mean, the guy looks human, doesn't he? He does actually look like a human being. He wouldn't use those in public. These are paparazzi-type shots where he didn't really know that they were coming. That praying signal he uses quite a bit. And if he doesn't want to speak, he'll put the praying in front of his mouth.
OK.
Remember when you were a kid, someone did that?
Yeah.
To stop
if you do that, you just sort of...
I'm stopping myself from speaking. Don't say anything is what it says.
It's almost as good as...
Very much the
That
same.
one.
But,
And what about one of those? If somebody sort of rested in the head there,
well, if the finger goes up the side of the head, you've got evaluation, but it's critical evaluation. Now, it's on the chin, and the head's tilted. It's more thinking, oh, that's good, that's interesting. Now I don't like it. Now I'm going to fall asleep. Now I am asleep. And that's the process in which it goes.
Australian politics, no different to international politics. And the other night on Q&A, Kevin Rudd was on. Now, a bit explosive because he's caused a few ructions by disclosing information, personal, confidential cabinet discussions. Now, what are you gleaning from this? Because he was talking about other cabinet members who who disagreed with the ETS. Now, how do you read his body language? Because he didn't name names.
Well, he didn't have to name names because Julie Bishop said, oh, I'll tell you who the people are. Then she went through a name, Gillard and Swan and one other. So when she did that, his face actually dropped, because I don't think he was expecting her to fill in the gaps to say these are the names, because that means the whole thing was sprung, including the people who were playing it.
Well, let's rerun that vision of him so we can go through those physical expressions where he sits back and he has various expressions with it. So you can see him, and it's all shot live.
He's talking with his palms in upward position, which he did most of the night for that too, which is something that he can do regularly and make himself look good. He only turned his palm over and talked with the palm down when he talked to the guy on his right, the professor, who was obviously getting up his nose regularly.
See, and that laugh there. And his palms up again, I see.
Yeah, well, that was a fear face he showed then. The corners of the mouth went, he smiled, but the mouth went down. You can't actually do this. You've got to be feeling the emotions for that gesture to take place. Try and do it. Try and smile with your corners down. You can't do it.
So it's a fake smile. You're expected to smile, but you're not.
Yeah, this doesn't bother me one bit, but I'm really terrified is what his brain is saying.
Okay.
What do I do now?
Julia Gillard, the Prime Minister, yesterday, the day after, responded to how do you feel about Kevin Rudd naming these names, and her predictable response, I don't talk about private cabinet discussions.
There goes the smile again. Like, smiling, this doesn't bother me one bit. Corners of the mouth are down. She really doesn't want to be asked this question. She knew it was coming. She really did. And the head shaking from side to side at the same time. And she's also got the snooty down the nose look, at like, rack off, journalist. Don't really want to see you any longer. But she's also very nervous and scared. She's got the fear face on as well. And the fear face is a dead giveaway for these guys.
So fear face is chin up and
the corners are down.
Of the mouth
and you see there's the monkeys and chimps. So they're about to attack you or run when they do that. They're not happy at all.
God, you'd be scary to be at a dinner party with.
Well, kids under 6 can't tell the difference between a fear face and a smile face, which is why there's so many dog attacks for kids under 6, because dog brings the lips back and shows the teeth, and they mistake that the dog actually wants a hug, and it doesn't.
Fascinating, as always. Allan Pease, it's terrific to have you with us, as always.
My pleasure.
It's really good to have you with us. Okay, Allan Pease joining us.